The year is 1603. He lost everything, but found himself a nameless outcast, a masterless warrior, a man who turned solitude into an art form. 21 rules that will blow your mind. Why is the philosophy of a 17th century samurai still relevant today? Imagine, Japan, 1603. The Great Battle of Sekigahara has just ended. It reshaped the country, consolidating power under the Tokugawa shogunate, but also left thousands of samurai cast aside, stripped of purpose. These once honored warriors became Ronin, men without lords, without income, without a place in the new order. Society viewed them with disdain, not even worthy of a proper death. But amidst these broken souls was a 16-year-old boy who saw his banishment not as a curse, but as liberation. Miyamoto Musashi chose a path no one dared tread, to embrace being rootless. He didn't chase after a new master. Instead, he bowed to something far greater, life itself, nature, the way. Each step he took along dusty mountain roads became a pilgrimage, not to a shrine, but to himself. In solitude, he shed identities like old armor. Without duty, he discovered discipline. In exile, he didn't fade, he sharpened. His story reminds us, true power doesn't come from belonging. It arises when you dare to stand completely alone and stay unbroken. Ito Karsuke, nearly 6 decades later, as death approached like a familiar guest, Musashi sat in quiet reflection and penned 21 timeless precepts, known as the Dokudo, or the Path of Aloneness. These weren't hollow phrases or abstract theories. They were born of a life lived on the blade's edge, through war, wilderness, and unshakable discipline. The first rule, accept everything just the way it is. It sounds simple, almost passive, but look deeper. It's an invitation to radical alignment with reality. It's not surrender. It's the warrior's deepest strength, to stop fighting what already is. Like a river flowing around boulders, we become powerful, not by resistance, but by adaptation. Then comes, do not seek pleasure for its own sake. This isn't ascetic denial, it's clarity. When we stop chasing fleeting comforts, we stop being controlled by them. Life sharpens, the mind steadies. In this stillness, we find something stronger than comfort, purpose. And the third, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Here lies the root of humility. Ego shrinks and understanding expands. Death, for Musashi, who was never a threat. It was the ever-present backdrop that made every sunrise sacred. Awareness of death didn't paralyze him. It awakened him. In our hyper-connected, overstimulated world, silence is almost feared. We're conditioned to avoid stillness, to fill every gap with noise. But Musashi walked the opposite path. He sought not distraction, but depth. He could spend entire afternoons beneath an old pine tree, observing the trembling of a spider's web in the wind, not idly, but with complete presence. Through such simple acts, he trained the blade of awareness, refining perception until truth revealed itself without effort. His solitude was never isolation. It was a sacred return to the center, the space untouched by opinion, untouched by identity. In silence, the soul speaks clearly, and when no one is there to tell you who you are, you're finally free to become who you truly are. Musashi teaches us, if you can't be with yourself in silence, you'll always be at war, even in the company of others. But if you can sit in stillness and feel whole, you've already won a battle most people don't even know they're fighting. There's a story, half humorous, half revealing, about a night Musashi spent at a noble's estate. Offered luxurious bedding and the company of refined women, Musashi declined both. He sat cross-legged in the corner, sword across his knees, eyes open until dawn. When questioned, he replied, "Comfort is the slow poison of the warrior. Taste it once, and you'll resist the cold morning." This wasn't masochism, it was mastery. He understood how easily the spirit grows soft when pleasures multiply. Warmth lulls awareness. Rich food clouds intuition. Indulgence dulls the blade of the mind. He chose austerity not out of hatred for the world, but out of reverence for a deeper fire, one that required discipline to stay lit. Every comfort he refused became fuel. Every pleasure denied sharpened his edge. And in that tension between desire and discipline, he birthed not just victories, but wisdom, distilled in the Book of Five Rings, a text still studied today by warriors, entrepreneurs, and seekers alike. The paradox remains: renounce the world, and the world offers itself back, but on your terms. On a blood-soaked battlefield surrounded by death, Musashi noticed something strange. When anger gripped him, his sword felt heavier. When fear crept in, the blade lost its clarity. His movements faltered. Reaction replaced presence. From this, he discovered a deeper principle: the art of mushin, or no mind, a state beyond thought or emotion. Not numbness, but pure responsiveness. The lake's surface may ripple, but its depths remain undisturbed. He trained himself to watch emotions arise like clouds and let them drift away without attachment. Anger was acknowledged, but not obeyed. Fear was seen, but not believed. Today, psychologists call this meta-awareness. But to Musashi, it was simply the path to survival, and more than that, the path to mastery. In Mushin, the opponent was no longer a threat, just another form, another wave, passing through the still waters of his presence. To live like this is to stop being ruled by the chaos within. And in that stillness, even conflict becomes a kind of peace. At the end of his life, Musashi made one final journey, not outward, but inward. He gave away all he owned, wrote a last scroll, then retreated into a remote mountain cave, not to die in solitude, but to become part of it. There, he wrote the last of the 21 rules. Be detached from desire your whole life. But his most radical line came earlier: be no one. What does that mean? It's not nihilism, it's freedom. When you are no one, no insult can wound you. When you want nothing, nothing can control you. When you leave no trace, your presence becomes eternal. Musashi didn't die with fanfare or a monument. He left no grave, only a scroll. And yet, 400 years later, his words echo louder than any stone marker could. In the end, he became what every seeker longs to be, not a legend carved in bronze, but a presence that flows with the living river of time. Which rule resonated most with you? Was it the silence of solitude, the radical acceptance of reality, the discipline to renounce ease in search of truth? Musashi's wisdom isn't about swordplay, it's about life, about walking your path with awareness, detachment, and inner fire. Even when the world doesn't understand. If this video spoke to something deep inside you, consider leaving a comment. Which principle will you carry into your own journey? And if you found value here, like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content for the soul. The path of the Ronin is not for the many, but if you're still here, maybe it's for you.